Hello, good evening, and welcome to a lovely Thursday evening. Maybe not brilliant out there, but again, it's Thursday already, nearly over the hill, and we're nearly into the weekend. Hello, good evening. Where did you pop up from? Nice to have you.
I just pop up all over the place, don't I?
You have done this week in more ways than one, yes. Well, welcome, and good evening, Rach. How's things? How's your week?
It's not been too bad. I've just been taking minutes for the last 2 hours, so I've got a bit of finger cramp. So it's easier to talk than to harass you by typing. So that's why I'm here.
Much appreciated as well. So you've certainly kept me on my toes this week. And also what we're going to do this week, we're going to have a little talk about, I'm going to say refunds, but in all ways and all fairness and everything that works out, we want to hear two sides of the story. So at some point, we're going to put a few views over about what bad experience that people's had with ordering and buying equipment online in the paranormal field. And in the future, if these people or whoever's involved can hopefully come back and help us with the situation and sort it out, that would be great, because obviously it's all about being fair and trying to sort people's issues out and make people aware of what's going on in the field as well. That was to you, Rachel. I think she's frozen.
Sorry, I was just catching up. My audio has gone a bit funny.
Yeah, just stay with it. Tonight as well, we have got a few other guests that's going to join us as well. And we've got a few lovely people in the backstage there, and we're going to bring them in as well. And they're going to talk about some of their experiences that they've had as well with the normal paranormal world and the paranormal experiences that they've come across again. So let me introduce the lovely Anna.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. Welcome for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, you're welcome. And Rachel's above and you're below there, Anna. So welcome to the open mic hour, Thursday night session where people have their say and get any grievances off their chest, so to speak, or any issues, topics and subject. And I do believe that you'd like to talk about some situations that you've come across about trying to get some refunds.
Yeah, so it's the company PARANOLOGIES. I actually placed an order with them back in May last year, and the initial estimate was 8 to 10 weeks. I emailed them because I heard nothing after I ordered it. Got a sort of quite a nondescript response, basically. Said he was a bit behind. He would get to the order. That was that. The 8 to 10 weeks passed. Emailed him again. Still said, "Oh, I'm in the process of moving. Blah 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 blah. It's a bit behind. You'll get it." Waited a bit longer. Sent another email. Never heard anything about that. Sent a message via his website. He had a little online chat function. Sent a message there. Popped up. That email was now defunct. Couldn't get through on that. Then you go to his blog. He's got a new email address. Emailed him on that, and I got more platitudes. A bit later on, emailed him again. And it's just more of the same, basically. It just went on like that. Then I started looking around a little bit more, and it turns out there's an awful lot of people have had the same experiences. You can't message him via Facebook. That's been taken away. And it's just really difficult to get in touch with him and get any kind of what's going on. It just sort of, you have to go to his website. He's got a blog. He updates it there, and he just goes on about the fact he's very, very busy. He's very, very behind. People will get their orders, but you're left thinking, has he even got it?
Okay.
You know.
I've seen a few things on his threads. Because on his threads, I did see that he has said that he is running behind, but this is from nearly a year ago where people are complaining. And he just, on his updates on Facebook, you just tend to say, we are falling behind. Everything's custom made, everything's custom built. And whilst I appreciate a lot of work goes into this, and it is being shipped over from different countries too, a year seems to be an incredible amount of time to wait for a piece of equipment it's not been cheap either.
No. You kind of don't mind waiting for a piece of bespoke equipment if you've at least got some indication when it's going to be, you know, or even if you're just regularly updated about it. I don't mind waiting, as long as I just kind of expect that the company would get in touch with you rather than you have to chase them. You know, it's like, I don't mind if it's going to take that long, fine, but just keep giving me a little update. Do you know what I mean?
What I'm drawn to as well with this, Anna, when did the date to this start? When did this all seem to take hold? That you just, you know, the time period, was it like, you know, obviously like a year last September, or what's your time period?
So it was 23rd of May when I actually placed the order. It's 23rd of May last year, so it's well over a year now. The final correspondence with he had a little form on his website that basically said, you must fill in this form and you've either got to ask for a refund or say that you still want your equipment. So at that point, because the equipment wasn't just for me, it's somebody else on my team as well. And we sort of said, oh, well, let's wait. So that's what we said. But it basically says you're not going to get a response from sending this form to me. I'm just going to get it and then you'll just still have to wait. And that was the same case as whether you asked for a refund or not. So whether you asked for a refund or whether you still wanted to wait for your equipment, you weren't going to get a response back from him just from sending that form in.
So at the current situation, I would feel, hopefully, if this message gets back to the certain set company or certain set person, that they could tie in with everybody's issues and problems and try and dot the I's and cross the T's for everybody, and put one person in the picture and everybody in the picture of either producing the equipment or giving certain people certain dates, but having a time period. If that's not met, then obviously the refunds should be following. To me, anybody I've worked with in the paranormal field has built the equipment and then sold it.
Yeah, well, he does state on his website, and to be honest, it was a little red flag for me when we first did the order, that he said absolutely under no circumstances do I issue refunds. But because it was Paranologies and because they kind of had that reputation of producing equipment, it's featured on TV shows, you kind of think, well, they must be, you know, okay. But there was part of me going, and I wish I'd have listened to my gut instinct, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, he says he doesn't offer refunds because he buys, as soon as he gets the order, he buys the parts for your piece of equipment. Ergo, he spent your money, ergo, no refunds. So yeah.
So as it stands now, though, have you had your refund back?
No, well, I haven't actually asked for refund because that was going to be the next step. Because you know, it's kind of like when I last sent that email about saying yes, I'm willing to wait. That was 29th of March. So we're now quite a few months from then. So I was going to follow that up with, now I've still not heard anything. I'd like a refund. So I'm still in that process. I need to contact him again.
Off the record, I mean, if that was me being frustrated as a customer like you, personally, I would have gone through the small claim courts myself. That's me directly. But obviously, you've got procedures where you're going to ask for a refund now, and then you're going to take it from there as well. And also as well, you've mentioned that certain reviews that you see when you've done a little bit more digging. Does that seem to take you back a little bit with how things can be run with it? Like, I don't know whether it's a one-man band show or, a little man in his shed, a person in the shed, a person on his own, or...
He's a person working on his own, which again is why, like, I've not, I've given plenty of time. It's like if he's behind on his orders and he does it as a hobby. So again, if he's got a lot of orders in, it is going to take him some time. So I've given him a lot of time. It's over a year.
I can honestly safely say I've ordered stuff in October elsewhere from China, and that hasn't came in the post, but it was only a very, very small little amount. I think, possibly something else, but really small. So I always write that off. But sometimes at some point when you put in good faith and you put in good hard-earned cash somebody's way, you want something in return. You do. And I'd still be quite happy if he sent an email and said, you're going to get your equipment in 6 weeks, and I got it in 6 weeks. I'd be quite happy. I know I've waited a long time. I'd be quite happy. It's not, but it's just that lack of communication, that lack of getting any real solid information about what is going on. Can you cover as well, Anna, what type of range and scope of stuff that you're looking at? Was it like really off the scuff, off the top drawer stuff that you was looking at the equipment. You mentioned, like, is it just natural normal stuff, you know, just the basics of the basics, or?
Yeah, it was a couple of I think he calls them tribal electric. I can't remember now. It's tribal electric meters, the static detectors that detect the movement, and then there was another piece of some 360 piece. That one wasn't for me, and that was a slightly more expensive one. But they weren't like his top of the range, really expensive bits of equipment. Which I am very glad I didn't order those.
And also as well, is it like the Periscope, was it, when you're saying like the circular one or the 360? Was it something like that?
I think it's something like that. Yeah, hang on, probably got his website up here somewhere.
And it will have a high range of price as well there with outgoings. You know, you can understand if you pay installments, you pay his deposit, and then if when they wait for parts, you pay another payment when he's got the parts, and then wait for the final payment. So like installments might seem to be the best way forward for that type of person's scenario as well. But obviously at the moment you're left out of pocket, and you know, I mean, you mentioned other people's reviews as well. What have you found out there when you've been digging more?
Yeah, well, there's when you start, because you're kind of thinking, well, what other experiences other people have? So you sort of like Google complaints, and there's a lot of people with very, very, very similar stories to mine, and they've been waiting over a year, and some of them have asked for refunds, some are still waiting for equipment, but nobody's really getting any real answers about what's going on. And you can just do a search for it online and have a look at what I've seen. So, you know, it just comes up there. But yeah, I'm not alone at all.
So how did you find them? Did you order these through? Did you find them on Facebook and order through them, or did you go directly through their website? And how did you pay for these? Is it possible to claim it back somehow?
So I went through the website because it's the only way to order. He's on Facebook, but you order from his website. And I paid by credit card, so at least it's that. It's a shame I didn't pay by PayPal, but he didn't have that option at the time.
It's the charges, isn't it? Everybody dodges the charges.
Yeah.
Also, as well, you know, you can put it in dispute with your credit card company for a refund.
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably going to be the next step.
But I don't know whether that's within a 12-month period. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You're left in a really awkward position because you sort of get all this, I'm really busy, I'm really behind. And apparently he had a massive run on his Pico something or other that it featured on TV and loads of people ordered it. And that's been his main excuse as to why he's so behind on everybody else's orders. He does state on his website now that he's not taking any new orders in and he's catching up. But
that's always nice to hear that type of scenario, to give them type of people time to catch up. But when you've got a bookload and current situation that we've just gone through, I thought a lot of people would have had more time on their hands and more, might be struggling for parts, but put an offer in of something else to try and cover it with a different piece of equipment, you know, have a little bit of a compromise there back to the equipment, you know, to the person on the customer for the equipment that they're not getting.
So I think we've got David and Jess waiting to come on, because I think they've got their own story. So best of luck, Anna, trying to get that money back. Keep us posted, please. Come back and talk to us and let us know what happens.
I will do.
And for anyone watching, Anna is part of an amazing team called West Yorkshire Paranormal Society. They are on Facebook and they do go to some incredible locations. So go give them a look. And thanks for joining and good luck.
If you want to stay in the background later on, have a few people that are having chats and that as well, you're more than welcome. What's your outlay at the moment, Hannah? Don't mind me asking, what have you outlaid?
It was just under 250 quid for the 3 pieces of equipment.
But the problem with that is it's not just 250 quid, isn't it? If you want to go and get that similar type of equipment or replace it with another piece of equipment, you're spending like £100 on something. So it's cost you £350 for £100 worth of equipment you've gone and bought elsewhere, isn't it? Yeah. So, you know, it's really hard, isn't it? So
see, I will say part of the reason that I went with them is because there wasn't seemingly anything similar in this country that was being sold that was supposed to be doing the same thing. So again, he had that.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, give them the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully we get a nice response, which is always good because, you know, obviously, you know, I don't want to see people discredited without having their say as well. And, you know, I understand your frustrations, and I would be just as frustrated with you as well. Again, you said there's been reviews on Plus Pilot again for that team. If the admin can put the team on there that we're trying to get responses from, that'll be good. Hello, good evening. Are you
able to hear me?
I mean,
that's not great.
We have David. Right. Once again, thank you so much, Hannah, and please keep us posted, okay?
I will.
And
thank you.
Weekend, because you're away this weekend, aren't you?
I am, yes. Looking forward to it.
I'm so jealous. It's a bit of a road trip, is that one? So have a fabulous time, and I can't wait to see the photos.
Oh, there'll be plenty.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. You're right, young man.
All right.
You're right, young man. Where's Jeff? Is Jeff
struggling to come on? Maybe it could be our internet. Our internet's not great.
That's
somebody with a blank screen.
She can pop in. Good evening. Hello.
There she was.
Hello. Well,
Jess, hello.
Well done for the Jamaican.
Hello, beautiful people.
Please ask your story on this issue, this topic, and this subject. The same company?
Yeah, similar kind of thing. We purchased a 360 Periscope. It was second hand at the time, and he had about 2 or 3. We bought one, and luckily enough, only paid about £75 for it. Being as it was second hand, we thought we'll give it a try, because he's offering this lifetime warranty. So we thought we got nothing really to lose, so we may as well go second hand and get it cheaper. So we did. Used it a couple of times max, and after a couple of times it stopped working. I emailed him, and he told me to send it back, to which I did last July it was. I sent numerous emails to him, and again, it's just full of empty promises. I'll get round to you as soon as I can and send it back to you.
You see, the way as well that I see it as well, Dave, it's not just £75. If you think to earn £75, you might have to earn £120 in a day to have a recoup of £75 take home. You know what I mean? So, you know, it is virtually a day's pay or part and parcel of a good day's work and shift. Do you know what I mean? So, again, you're just coming on deaf ears as well.
Yes. I mean, I have tried a recent email. Again, I've had no response. Again, I'm not sure what you can do apart from go to maybe look at some more advice somewhere, because I've never come across this before. I
think the small claims court will cost you £60 just to start the process as well. So again, sometimes it's obviously you're not going to put it down as a recommendation, are you? So what would you say to people out there as well? Check out on the Plus Pilot and check out all the reviews as well prior to that, and hopefully give this person time to sort up and catch up and really get focused with this. If it gets back to them, that'd be nice.
He's full of promises. He's also been saying the same as what he said to the previous guest. And I just don't think it's acceptable. Not when you've purchased an item to use. I keep telling him that we desperately need it back and we desperately want to use it. But it doesn't seem to get anywhere. He keeps changing his email addresses as well. Right.
Okay. So that sounds like there doesn't want to be a paper chain of emails to the same thing as well, doesn't it? Maybe that you can add on some of the email addresses that's on the end of this, possibly, and then for people to contact if they've had similar issues, and then they can see how many. If you've got 2 or 3 different email addresses, that's not good business or good policy or good procedure, is it?
No. I mean, at the time of purchase, he said he was moving business premises, so you just assume that was the case, and he will get back on his feet. When he does, he will send it back, but there's no excuse for a whole year.
And I can safely say through personal experience of my own, I'd say about April I started the process going through April, and this company I was working with wasn't delivering. And I just cut them off after 2 months, and then they're saying, "Oh, why have you cancelled that?" And I'm like, "Hello, you're at home, you're on current situations. It's easy to blame people from left to right and go, you're not doing this and you're not doing that." I was the customer, and they were having me running around doing everything. And in the end, I just went, "Oh, hang on, process isn't right. I'll take control, I'll take charge," and that's what it's about. Again, it's taking the leadership of the situation when you're seeing it on. Have you ever had any experience of equipment not turning up, Rach, or bad customer services in and around the paranormal world and the electronic equipment and all that?
I've had a couple of pieces ordered, and when they've arrived, they've been faulty. So sent an email, the email straight back, and they're like, "Oh, we'll send you out a replacement." And it's gone back, and they said it was actually my fault, that it had water damage. It's like, well, it's not water damage. I've literally just opened the packet. So luckily, I had paid on PayPal for that. And I've also bought something from Amazon before, and I've just been having a look at Paranologies, and they are on Amazon, and they have stopped selling on Amazon. Everything's currently unavailable. So he's clearly, I think, excuse me, I think a lot of people get into making equipment, and some of it's very, very good. It's great quality, but then popularity spikes, and what became a hobby then turns into a full-time business, and they just can't handle it in way over their heads. And then in the end, we're the ones that suffer. Nobody's, like I say, nobody's buying anything at the moment. I'm currently on Amazon. And I never got a refund properly from the piece of equipment I bought from Amazon either. So they offered me a store credit. And I said, I'd rather not have store credit, because you just never know when you're going to get to spend it.
Also, there's another company as well recently that I've been dealing with, Paranormal Electronics.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, we purchased the new Spirit Box and a speaker from them. Again, saying that it was in the stock. Then I find out that it's not in stock and it's pre-order. And then he flatly refused to get back to me on message when I mentioned about, you know, how long it's been and how long have I got to wait. And had I have known I was going to be a pre-order, I wouldn't have ordered from him, because I could have got it on eBay. A little bit more pricey, but I could have bought it there and then. But I've gone through my credit card company and they've given me a refund. It's taken, again, that took quite a few months to sort out. Again, it's another thing about service, isn't it? I don't know if COVID's had a big impact, but
you're not the only one with Paraelectrics though. Sorry, Gary.
Yes.
There's been quite a lot of chats and live chats recently. Dead Ends put out a great chat not so long ago about how people were being ripped off by this company, and there have been hundreds of people affected. So you're not alone with this one particular company. Apparently, the gentleman involved isn't very pleasant to deal with, and he's quite rude. But he does come onto the live chats. So I'll give him that. He comes onto the live chats and he gives his piece. And you know, he'll stand up for himself, and I admire that. You know, he could have just shied away from it. So I admire that he comes on and tells everybody exactly what he thinks and what's happening. But unfortunately, there are so many. It's like, I've got my cat. Oh, what's happened? Mike Archer. Let's have a look at this. I placed an order in March, and I was patiently waiting for my order and hoped to get it before leaving on an investigation in May. There was no movement, and when I checked the status, I saw his blog of stopping orders. I looked at his Facebook, and he had posts about moving and building and setting up. Then everything stopped. He just started as if you wanted a refund, to email him. I did, and as of today, no refund has been issued. It's awful. I heard nothing but great things from him and his products. I'm assuming. And then and Rachel just confirmed. So it's not alone. I think a lot of people are just inundated. Everybody's out at the moment. We've all sat at home. A lot of us have been off work and furloughed, and we've all got a little bit of extra money to spend. So it's, what should we spend our money on? Let's buy some new kit. And everybody's inundated with new orders, and they just can't handle it. And instead of being straight up and honest and saying we can't fulfill this order, we're snowed under, we're left to wait and we're left short of change. It's not on.
Again, I agree with Rachel there, though. The quality of the products are good. And the reason we went for Paranologies, again, is because it was on TV. They feature on TV and all sorts with making kit for Ghost Adventures, Paranormal Down, things like that. So we thought we would, you know, they're a legit company and we wouldn't have any trouble.
We've had some great stuff on them, haven't we?
But then again, overall there, you're looking at like even Anna alone, £250, yourself £75. It soon stacks up. I don't know how much Mike's, good evening for joining us, Mike. I don't know how much your outlay for your products were, but it certainly stacks up. So it keeps them busy in the environment in the shed saying that they're doing this as well. You know what I mean? So it seems to be a nice little ticking over thing as well, that it's keeping them ticking over as well, you know. So again, be upfront with people, draw a line in the sand on your orders, put a line in the sand, and then get back to people, start working with people. You know, this paranormal world, this paranormal field is the most overexposed field in the world. And to me, things to certainly get back to people, and it spirals out of control unless there's somebody that's actually get a response and put the things to bed that needs to be put to bed, where people can have their say and their views go over as well. So, you know, we're more than welcome for these responses back, and, you know, let's sort it out for these people out there. You know, the good, hardworking people, they've got a passion, they've got a drive, and most of all, we love doing what we do. And the amount of equipment I've had go missing, but that's just generally my fault. But I know what it's like to go out and buy the same piece of equipment, and I've left equipment, and there's nothing worse than that sinking feeling going, oh God, it's going to cost me again twice, you know. So again, you know, equipment is so dear, and it's so.
It is. It's
your passion. You're adding to your passion, aren't you? You know, it's part of your. You know, it's part of what you stand for as a team, and even if people work individually, you know, there must be so many people. We've had it with events. Now we're getting it with people with paranormal equipment. Where are we going to stop? Where are we all going to start working under the same umbrella and looking after each other? So that's what we're trying to do tonight.
But is TV part of the problem, though? Are we watching all of these shows that are on TV? We spot a bit of kit and think, that's epic, let's have that. And before we know it, we're parting with the best part of £500. For a piece of equipment we aren't guaranteed to arrive, let alone whether we know whether it works or not. We only have what we see on TV as proof that it actually works. Why are we spending this much money on a piece of equipment that we're not guaranteed is going to work? And it's so hard to buy some of these fancy new pieces of equipment in the UK. You're having to ship them over from the US. Everything comes through UPS. You're spending an extra £80 for your postage and to clear customs. And we're not guaranteed that it's going to work. So are we spending too much time watching other people investigate on TV and then looking at their equipment and thinking, this is what I want?
True point. Very true point.
It's like, I love a gadget. I do love a gadget, but also nothing beats sitting in a room and using your sensors.
No, I agree.
But we have our sensors. And it's like, it's great to have a bit of equipment, but we don't know that's going to work until we've parted with a great sum of money before we realise it's not worth it. Are we bought into this idea? Because it tends to be the same teams that come out with this, and so-and-so's created this new piece of equipment, it's brilliant. We've only their word for it, but then before we know it, we're spending £900 on this equipment, and it comes or it doesn't come, and we're all out of pocket, and we will never know if it works or not. So should we stop watching TV and coveting other people's piece of equipment?
Also, as well, what I find is everybody that I've been around, and, you know, we've got amazing people around us in this field. If we have bought something and somebody says, oh, I like that, can I buy it off yet? Or, you know, I say, I don't use this anymore. And we're always honest and upfront. It's like, oh, no, you want to have a little look at this object, or you want to try that piece of equipment as well, won't we? We just won't go, oh, yeah, I can get me £50 back, or I can get me £85 back here, and take somebody for a ride and a mug. I've never done that. I've never seen that done around the people I'm with. They're always fair, and they'll say, oh, you know, I've only ever had that equipment go off once, and that was like a while back, and again, we're honest, we're not just out to, we're fair with people, and that's what we want back.
See, the reason we went with Paranormal Electronics was because we actually don't live too far away from them, probably 40, 50 miles, if that. So I thought if it's local, with the experience that we have with Paranologies in America, we thought, well, try somewhere local. If we get much trouble, we can always pop there if we had to. So that was my reason for going with them. And again, they build good quality stuff. The stuff they make themselves is absolutely amazing. But the other stuff, the generic stuff that he has to get,
people out there as well, David, they're still producing this stuff and getting their shipments out to people, aren't they, as well?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where there's an auction fraud and stuff like that. Who controls that? Who's the body for that? You know what I mean? But you've got to have legislation, processes and procedures, and the outcomes are still the same. I've seen somebody today that they've had to pay a fine and then reclaim the fine back, in a different scenario. But the process, policies and procedures, they seem to be all over the place with what we've gone through as well with the last 15, 16 months as well. So to me, I feel there's too many people sat back and taking good people for a ride and that are doing cash.
I mean, we did have plans of spending quite a lot of money with them because they do a lot of good equipment, but I've been put off, and I will never ever buy from him again.
So again, on a good point now, David, where do you recommend for people to go for the paranormal equipment that you've dealt with people out there that's really ticking the boxes?
The good ones so far are Ghost Stop. Again, it's in America, but they were really, really good. We bought a lot of equipment from them. Not had much trouble with them at all. They're quite quick at delivering as well. But bear in mind, you do get the charge when it comes to this country.
Yeah, but you're paying for what you get, and you don't mind paying for what you get, do you? What the charge and the cost coming in from America, is it about £30, something like that? $30?
Yeah, I think when we ordered our Ovilus 3, we spent about £50. I'm sure it was about £50, wasn't it? On tax. But that's pretty minimal, really.
It depends on how much the item is, I think.
Yeah.
How much tax you pay.
And sometimes, if you're lucky enough to know someone in America, you can do it through them in a sense, rather than, and you can.
I mean, I do know people that bought the EDI, and if they've got friends in America, they've bought the equipment over there in America, and then they've packaged it over to good friends in the paranormal field over here as well. That's one way of. It certainly does help to have friends of friends that can do that for us as well. But again, there's a lot of trust with, an EDI is not cheap. It's about $300 odd, isn't it? $320, something like that,
Yeah.
Again, it's a device we were looking at, but then we thought we also heard a lot about it regarding people saying it's not very accurate, especially the EDI Plus. A lot of people get trouble with that one, so we're kind of steering clear of it.
Somebody said they're watching from the North Pole on the earlier
I saw that on there.
The comment. So welcome from the North Pole. Hope it's the magnetic field and the magnetic pole as well. Is it 12 degrees or is that shifting? I feel there's going to be a shift in this the natural magnetic pole as well. That's just my theory, but we'll get back on. If anyone wants to come on and add on to this as well, feel free. The admin has put the links on. You're more than welcome.
Rachel's gone.
Not like you, Rach.
He just completely goes off on me. Completely. It's not on topic at all. 1 minute we're talking about equipment, next he's on about magnetic poles. It couldn't be any more random.
I'm just slightly the earlier comment, Rach, from that somebody put they're tuning in from the North Pole, so I'm just responding to that. I'm not ignoring people. It's nice to be nice.
It's just so random.
Right, back on track.
Back on topic. There's
right, okay.
One thing that really bothers me. I can go.
Again.
These companies. Next week is going to be fun. These companies that You go to equipment, they've got some really amazing stuff, and then they sell equipment that you can find in China for like 80 times the price.
Yeah.
I don't understand that either.
And also as well,
That's
saying
bonkers. You can buy a cheap K2 for £14, and they're charging 60 for it. It's like they think we're all stupid.
But we've seen stuff over the past where if you put it in a paranormal advertisement to electrical equipment, the massive amounts of difference is unbelievable, you know. So people or electricians don't pay for paranormal equipment, but the same tool and the sky high prices on the paranormal equipment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
just get yourself a tool station, business card.
They are. They're all electrical tools, aren't they? For like the K2 meter and things are generally built for just electrics, aren't they? For finding electric wires in the walls.
You could pat tester.
Yeah.
I just had a little scan.
My cat.
Go on, Rach, speak up.
Honestly, Mike Archer, Ghost Op has been great. A little expensive. My boss has a plan to make kits with instructions on how to build at a much reduced price. She's an electrical engineer and built devices on the fly for some hit shows. So I know she's passionate about these kits at a reasonable small price rather than a car payment price. And that's fab. There should be more people sharing, you know, their knowledge. There's a couple of really good YouTube videos actually that of guys that do this.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them in the workshops as well, and I've noticed as well over the years that, you know, I've read somebody's refund policy actually on the page, and it was like, don't use the equipment if you want a refund. So what's the first thing you got to do? You got to test it out, and then if it's not working, that's when you ask for your refund. That's actually on one of the policies of their refund policies. Do not use the equipment if you want a refund. And you're like, so if it's faulty, there's no way around that one. So there's the type of stuff you're dealing with, especially what Anna was putting up with. It does seem to be like a little type of scenario as well. If you've ordered it and you don't want it, then don't purchase it. Phone us, contact us before you purchase, which is good advice. But there's not many people that buy stuff to say, right, I bought it to send it back. I just don't get that type of scenario. But I understand where they're coming from with the policy on that. That makes total sense. But they must have so many people buying stuff and sending them back as well. That seems a little bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, the fault with ours, I'm sure it's only somewhat simple that had I have known, I could have got somebody like Eddie Frey to do it for me or something, because it's just knowing how to go about fixing it, isn't it? And it's probably only a simple problem, and I could have had it fixed by now.
Well, I had a REM pod, and you know, I like to see the people's silver stickers on them as their seal. You know, and I've had people come up to me, you know, we'll have a little look into that and we'll build our own. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. You know, that's somebody's product. Contact them. They might have, as you say, the kits, like Mike's saying there, they might have the kits to say, if you want to have a go build them yourself, I'll send you the kits, and that type of scenario as well. So sometimes it is worth a little bit slowing down and thinking about the whole scenario. And, you know, we do like seeing new equipment, don't we? Again, but you know, the recommendations that's coming through, I'm not hearing a lot of good things about this scenario of people being snowed under and not meeting their fulfillment of obligations.
Thing is, I'm running out of places to buy kit from now, so I'm apart from Ghost Op, I'm probably not going to buy anything from anyone else, because you know, there's just nowhere that stick to what they say that we found. There is another company. There is one more company in the UK, I think, which are okay. I'm trying to think what their name is. I think it's that North, isn't it? Is it UK?
I think what might be worthwhile doing towards the end of the show is on the end of the list is like put ones that we've favoured and found that's very positive scenario, and any other issues or problems with other people it's had with other people ordering off is to say, please respond to us, please help these people out. That's what we're after. So we can do like a plus, and I don't mean a negative, a plus and an open bracket where people can put right some of the situations that's gone on. And I'm not sitting on the fence with this. You know, I do really want to go to town because, you know, we are passionate, and you know, but again, I'm a big believer in people make mistakes, and you know, there's oversights and overviews, and again, but at the end of the day, how much time do you give these people? Like Anna's case, you know, it's over, you know, like a year last May. You know, it's 13 months.
Yeah, it was July last year we bought the Periscope. Well, no, we bought it probably earlier in the year, and then we sent it back in July. Sorry. But yeah, I've never waited for a product for over a year. I've never ever waited for anything to come back fixed.
And that's what Rachel there is saying.
You could have gone to college and learned electric and made one yourself in that time. You could have done night school and learned how to do it yourself.
It's the fact that they ask me to return it and they're going to fix it, and then they don't even bother sending it back. And there's no communication, there's nothing.
Because I'm almost given up with it. I didn't know what I can do because it's in America, and I can't exactly, you know, we're over might almost be at the 12 months of the credit card thing, and because it's under £100, I'm not sure if I can do anything.
Right.
So I'm not sure what I can do, and this is why I've not really chased it up.
Almost like cut your losses.
With the one in the UK, I managed to chase that one up because the value was over £100, and I managed to get the refund and go through the credit card company. So that was a lot easier. But this being in America,
I've just bought a piece of electronic equipment, and it was like it was £500. Got it for £380. First thing I do, pay on credit card, and then. You know, obviously, I just paid off then the next few days, which I'm in a position to do so. But again, it's very frustrating that these people are just left high and dry.
Yeah.
It's Gary flaunting his wealth.
Yes, just reading that comment of many, especially when you have to pay lots of money up front, it's just been a big hole and a big pit as well, hasn't it, for people as well. So again, I feel at the end of this we will put a positive list up for please try these out. I would recommend that, but again, check the reviews as well. I find a lot of people don't look for the reviews. They get too keen, too quick, too soon to see a piece of equipment and run with it. Again, it's that we need a bit of para-unity around what's going on out there again, and people coming together with this. And I'd be surprised there now with just the figures alone. We're talking like 250, 350. We're looking at £500-ish, £450. That's just 3 people. You know, so, you know, if other paranormal people within the field share this video and this link, and then, you know, hopefully a few more people can try and get some of them hard-earned cash back, that'd be good.
So I didn't realize either that he was a single man on his own. I think he's literally in the business on his own. It's Jeremy from Paranologies. He's literally on his own, and I thought he was a lot bigger a company.
Some gremlins in the background there. Is that you, Rach?
I'm not doing anything.
Okay, that's fine. Got Thomas there. Good evening, Thomas.
I'm just trying to see if I can find that statement he made. Let's have a look.
Right.
So if you go into the Apologies Facebook page, he did release a statement on the 2nd of December last year, and it's a personal message from the owner to the customers, and it says, please take a minute to watch this video for an update on your orders and the future of the company. Thanks for watching and for being a customer. So the fact that he's had to make a personal statement about how long everything's taking, I think just speaks volumes. One of the best companies in America is Ghost Augustine are brilliant. Their equipment
they are good.
Yeah, so Ghost Augustine are brilliant. It's just a shame that if people are so hell-bent on getting some of this new technology, it's a shame that there's nothing really in the UK that's producing that other than some of the most unreliable companies in the field. So it's somebody mentioned Trustpilot earlier, and it's a shame that we don't have a para unity Trustpilot where we can turn to each other and ask each other for advice. There's something similar for venues. There's a paranormal venue advisor, which is brilliant, but maybe we need some backup. Maybe we need somebody to ask. It's, for example, I bought a green torch. A friend of mine bought a green torch. Mine was better. Hers was rubbish. She ended up buying the same green torches. And the only way you're going to get to know, and Gary's like, she's rambling, but the only way you're going to get to know what's good is by looking at other people's equipment and speaking to them.
Yeah.
Gary, set up a Facebook page. Make it happen.
No, what I recommend is exactly just what I was just going to say then. I think we should start a pros and cons of some type of equipment and some advice, and other teams contact us. Other teams share their views as well, and let's start knocking our heads together, and be it over the pond, Australia, New Zealand, Europe as well, Ireland. We know a lot of people that are buying the equipment, so I think we do need to set up a Facebook page or a YouTube page, and we'll put the pros and cons up or something like that as well. So hopefully it'll only take us a couple of minutes, but if anyone's got any problems, or issues, then we can share that as well. But let's have a good, honest, open review about some type of piece of equipment.
Yeah, and I will Google that company, that other company, because I know they're good as well. We have bought from them before, and I can't think who they are, but they're in the UK.
Okay, Rach, just bombarded the show, but I'll let you off.
Yeah. It's Rachel's show.
Hey, I love it raw. I love raw, and I love live. You can't beat it. I think you've knocked us off, Rach. Well, you've done something right. So I definitely think it wouldn't be too hard, would it, David, to set up a page where we can do like a paranormal advice line, something like that. What you recommend? How have you found that piece of equipment?
I think it's a brilliant idea.
But yeah, it would be a really good idea. I'm sure Rach could help us with it.
Again, I know Mike's over there. I know Mike's over the screen.
You've gone.
What's happened? Why am I just on the screen?
Oh, that's better. Whoa, what's going on?
I am laptop on charge, and all of a sudden everybody just sees my sofa and nobody else. Sorry about that.
Good evening, Jennifer. We're just talking about paranormal equipment, and if there's anybody over there in the pond that wants to try and join in with us and share our positive views on good reviews from people buying paranormal equipment, and we can set up a page from the pond side of it and over here as well, and we can work together. And if someone wants to champion that over there, that'd be ideal as well, because you've got a closer feel of what, like we are in the paranormal world. When something's not quite right, it snowballs in the paranormal world as well. So I'll just click on the screens again for us and see. There we go.
There we are.
That's better.
All right. Hey, I'm good. I couldn't have found that on my old laptop.
Is your laptop working now, Gary?
Brand new one.
Oh,
hey.
Okay.
Thanks, flaunting his wealth again. Will you stop talking about how much money you've got?
Can you send some my way?
It's that big.
Well, I'm sick of it.
So, where do you think we're going in the future with the paranormal equipment? What would you like to see out there as well? We've talked about the pros and the cons of people struggling with refunds, and that's what we're here for, give people a view. Where do you think we're going in the future with the paranormal equipment?
Wow, that's a question.
Robot.
Imagine that.
That's a question I can't answer. I will pass it on to Jess.
Don't look at me. I don't know. I think definitely more honesty with buying and stuff like that. I don't know.
I think we should just stop buying stuff. We're just going out and buying random stuff all the time.
Back to basics as well.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot more back to basics.
I have seen Rachel, I have seen a buying and swap and sell page, I think on Facebook, Paranormal Equipment as well. But again, you want, to me, you want that coming from, I feel you want that equipment coming from a team in relation to, if people are using it individually, you need to know the trustworthiness of the people that's buying, swapping and selling, don't we? As you know, theoretically, we need some type of category where we've got that trust factor as well. And you know, I trust everyone down to the bone, but if they've crossed you once, to me, that's it. It's just it takes a lot to get that trust back, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's knowing, it's like you said earlier, knowing whether the item works and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the trust.
Okay. Yeah. So I definitely think we'll get that page set up. So what do you reckon, Rach?
Yeah, let's do it. But we just need to be aware that I suppose there are going to be some people out there that have been crossed and ripped off, and we need to make sure we don't fall into the libel, slander kind of category. Because there's plenty of that goes on. But just somewhere that we can get together and just talk about what's working, what isn't working, what's worth your money, who's worth spending your money with, because there's nowhere really to turn. You do a Google search, you tend to get the same companies come up all the time, and they're the ones that tend to be unreliable. Such as I love Ghost Augustine, I think they're brilliant, but when you have a Google search, they're so far down the list, and you're left with the more unreliable ones right at the top. So the first reaction is just to choose the first ones, or maybe go for some in the UK that don't have the greatest of reputations. So you're kind of missing the good ones. But I'd like to see more of the old school stuff coming back. You know, bringing back the Teslas and you know, old school Ouija boards. I'd like to see the old school stuff coming back. But you try and get hold of some of that, and it costs more than some of these new gadgets. And it's such a shame, because that's how we all started. That's how it started hundreds of years ago. Sat around a table, a bit of electricity pulsing, and it was fab. And you can't get hold of anything like that anymore. Now you're just buying things that have been. There's a lot of EMF meters that have been adapted from simple things like TV aerials. And I've watched a YouTube video as to how to do it. It's super simple. You just need a little bit of soldering. And there are companies that are charging an insane amount of money for one of those. Or a little motion sensor you can pick up for a couple of pounds. They've added an LED light to it, and there you go. It's £60 for one of these. It's about time we stop ripping each other off, because there's going to be no trust left. There's going to be no trust left. No. Angela Gloves, make it yourself. You can make it yourself. You can adapt all sorts of things if you understand the science of how energies work.
And all it is 3D printing, isn't it? A lot of it is 3D printing.
Don't trust 3D printing.
Also, don't trust it. What's just come to me as well there is, if anybody sees any good YouTube makers out there that's doing equipment and they're up and coming as well, you know, we're also giving people a chance, and you know, we want to give these people a platform out there, and we want them to be very successful as well, don't we? Because that's what it's all about. It's all encouraging and pushing forwards. It's when it seems to spiral off the wrong way that it seems we need to break that link and that system. And I think that's what we need to try and help with today. And that's what we're here. We're open mic. We're trying to give everybody their views and everybody their say. And again, it's a good, honest debate about trying to put a few right a few wrongs. And that's what we're about.
Jennifer's comment's quite interesting. I would like to see a screen made so you can pick up spirits and talk to them for a conversation. That is what I would like someone to make for the future. Do you know, that's kind of terrifying. I saw something not so long ago, and it was a robot. No, it was an actual robot. It was a lady in China, I think, and they'd made this robot look just like her. Oh no, it wasn't. It was a little girl. It was a robot that made it look like a little girl, and they programmed the voice to sound like this little girl, so the mother could go in and talk to the robot. And it was like it was talking to a daughter, and it was utterly terrifying. I think that I don't think I'd be up for that, a screen that you could chat to. I think that's just too weird.
But definitely, as well, what they call that, Jennifer and Rachel, is a mirror.
Has everybody got a mute button for Gary?
You've got your fears on that, haven't you, as well? So we've talked a little bit about the past, the present, the future as well. It must be hard though before you buy something and click on something as well. I think everyone must have the self-doubts these days.
We did due to the pandemic and everything. And before we buy anything, we always look at reviews anyway. That's the number one thing. The same on Amazon or wherever you're going to buy any equipment from. Just keep looking at reviews and go with your gut instinct.
Again, so to me, you've learned by your mistakes in that way, which is, you know, it's not nice. Don't get me wrong, before I bought the product that I bought this week, I slowed down and I waited 2 weeks to find some more information out and have a look at all the pros and the cons around that scenario as well. So I am the type of person that would buy 4 laser grids, get them and they've been no good, and you're like, oh no, I wanted the powerful ones or the bigger ones. We've all ordered stuff and you're like, hang on, I thought it was a certain size and it's come and you're like, oh my god, I've ordered the wrong thing. So I'm always doubling, buying, and I will not return it. I just like, oh, I've got no time. I'm too busy. And that's what I found, but within a reasonable small cost amount. I mean, with stuff like that. So, you know, it might lie dormant under the stairs for ages, and I pick something up and I'm like, that's no use nor ornament what we've purchased as well, which it's a shame, you know. So it's got a usage for that. But again, the amount of stuff I've got to double check. I've learned by my mistakes. I'm going to say that.
There is another company that are okay. I wouldn't say fantastic, but okay. Infraready. Andy Bailey. He's we've bought a few things off him that have been a bit not so good. And sometimes he's given us wrong advice, but apart from that, the stuff he makes again is really good. But it's quite expensive.
His lighting stuff's amazing though. His LED lighting's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I've been asked in the past to promote other people's apps and stuff like that and promote their equipment and all that. And I've always said, you know, I always like to run with people's equipment team so they know what their setup is as well, because the trust back, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you take some equipment, you want to know the background of it as well, don't you, as well? So we've got the trust within the field that we know the knowledge around equipment, but when there's new equipment being bought, you want that trust with the people that's using it out there as well. So again, we in the paranormal world, we'll trust everybody down to the bone, won't we? You know, and it's like, yeah, we trust that, and that, you know, which is nice. Again, but that's why I always try and run with letting people use their equipment, because you know the honesty of that equipment.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think we'll be buying much more anyway. We've pretty much got a double wardrobe full of kit at the moment. We don't need any more.
Jennifer's saying you talk to a university in the technical program. I've come across this before, Jennifer, where people in the universities have made equipment and helped in that. And I've actually been part of someone's dissertation on mediumship as well.
Which psychiatrist.
Say again. Say that again without laughing, Rach.
I said, who was it? A psychiatrist?
Yes, but as again, don't forget, we've all got the mind to expand as well. I worked at the university, and there's one student there that was doing mediumship, and they actually had us in for experiments and working and talking about the mediumship side of it. But it's nice to think that you're part of somebody's dissertation, but they've got the scope to try and expand on something. So there's knowledge out there that we've got to tap into. And we covered that topic that Jennifer said when we went in and around the technical guys, because they had to produce with the team of another research to say part of their university course was, we'll do something electronically as well to see if they can expand. You know, they were just intrigued with how a medium works and the technology worked as well, which is the scientific side. So again, it's just expanding with everything, isn't it? Especially the universities there. Come and help us. Come and build the equipment. The universities, come and get in touch with us.
Valerie, some Steve Huff's Miracle Box. I'm sure I read something a while ago. It was under Huff Paranormal.
Huff Paranormal.
Yeah, and there was an article on there that was really interesting, and lots of
So I think, isn't it the last one he's making or something? I think he's decided this one's going to be the last one.
I know, I'm not quite sure where you can go with that technology with how far he's gone so far. But yeah, it was a really good article. So if anybody hasn't read that, you can find it on the Huff Paranormal page, I think. You can subscribe to that, and they send out all the news and stuff. Let's have a look. Sorry, a message from Karen.
Has anybody come across the binary response device with yes, no's on the box?
The Flux too.
Yeah.
The pyramid with the red and the green. Used that a few times when I've been out with West Yorkshire Paranormal. Jason's got one, and it's fab. I love it. But it takes a long time to settle. So you turn it on, and with it sort of takes a good 15-20 minutes for it to sort of calibrate itself. So in the meantime, you think you're getting some positive results, and it's just settling itself. It's calibrating. So it's a great one.
And I must say, I loved I had the security sensors out when I went to Markham Castle ages ago. I walked upstairs and I said, they'll go off now. It was just instant reaction. They couldn't find the remote fob for downstairs. We were upstairs. When we got into the back end of the castle, we couldn't actually hear it because we were that far in, and they were looking for me for about 15 minutes trying to turn these sensors off. But it was funny.
He did that at Drakelow as well. Everybody walked past his motion sensors at Drakelow. Nobody had been anywhere near us for about 2 hours, and he'd left them up, and somebody walked past, and I think that we all soiled ourselves a little bit because he was just leaves it on, leaves them in random places. But you're good at leaving things behind, aren't you? You've left your REM pods.
How many pieces of equipment behind on that secret location?
Yeah, you left them behind on the secret location. So we've actually sold those on the black market. Those are no longer yours. They belong to some dude in Devon.
That lovely lady has actually sent them back in the post to me.
She's a good egg, is that one? She's a good egg.
And I've done her a free reading in return because I thought that was a nice exchange. So again, we're coming up now. We're just on the hour. I'm in no rush to get off tonight. I'm enjoying myself. Is there anything that you'd like to see us cover in the future, or what topic and subject? I have still got yours to do that you mentioned the other week with the it's in the
reincarnation.
Yeah, it's in the kitchen.
Yeah, we'll do some reincarnation one week. We'll talk about that because it fascinates me. Carl, white noise on a little radio also works. Why pay big money and you can have an old tool for the... Exactly, Carl. Exactly. Bring back the old tool. Why are we spending £300 on a piece of equipment we can pick up in the charity shop?
And also I've seen before somebody mentioned the old recording tapes as well, like the EVP. Yeah. A lot of people use that. Again, I've seen like one of the best pieces of equipment I've seen out there was Eamon Van Harris's. And that was just, I can't remember the actual, what he calls it now, it's just gone, but it was just unbelievable, the equipment he's got there as well, and how he worked through the bands and the radius of all the megahertz and all that as well. It's just like, wow. And you can see it fine-tuning it as he's fine-tuning it. You can see it going through the radio waves on the screen as well. It's just a fantastic piece of work. Yeah,
you don't hear of him much now, do you? That was in Most Haunted, we used to watch him, used to see him. But yeah, he does the EVP, doesn't he, with these big machines and...
But it is amazing the technologies out there. I've worked with people that amazing Eddie, what he does there with the portal boxes and stuff like that. It's just mind blowing. I just sit there and I'm going, oh my word, this is heaven. And I've worked with technical guys that's been asked to run and work on the paranormal shows in the UK, and they've turned them down because they've got a good qualification with what they do in their Monday to Friday job. So sometimes some people just want to have their own settled environment as well. And when you're around all these people, it's like, oh, come on, do this for us, build this, build that, you know. But again, it's having the professionalism to say, well, in your own time, if you can do it, that's fantastic.
Yeah, we need to get Eddie to make us a box. So Eddie, if you're listening.
What does everybody think?
Good evening, Tricia. Latest per usual.
What do you think of these like ghost box apps and the amount of money they cost? You know, for your phones. Like a lot of people use Ghost Radio.
I bought the Spirit Box.
I prefer, out of all the apps on phones, the classic Ghost Radar is quite good. The original one.
The beeping noise drives me nuts.
And also Echo Box is really good, but I haven't come across many others that are not that good. I think a lot of them are sold as entertainment, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the amount of money they charge, though. They charge, some of the apps are $5.99 or the subscription based, and they cost a fortune, and they are just for entertainment purposes.
And how many times have we done that? We'll have a test trial for 30 days, and then 2.5 years later, we're like, oh yeah, forgot that keeps coming out.
A valuable response.
You can get good responses with Necrophonic. That's not too bad. Necrophonic and EchoBox, I would say, are the top two in my book. And
I think with the Necrophonics, what I've always liked is you can take the certain noise reduction out, can't you? So sometimes in a different environment, so if you're an abbey or an outdoor churchyard or something like that, there's a time and a place when you can reduce it and then heighten it as well with the different noise levels as well, which is always good. Simplistic things are amazing.
But yeah, I mean, just lately we're getting into the older ways anyway. We're going back to the old kind of techniques and thinking that using your own senses is probably the best thing you can ever do.
Which again, Jamaica in the other night.
I still how some of that stuff tallied with what you were saying.
It's really hard. I mean, we also done Ouija board in that room, which we didn't do on the live, but we had information basically talking about a spirit that's
a male spirit
that was not very nice, can get quite angry, quite stocky.
The word museum
and then the word poster come through, and I thought, where's the connection going with this? And it wasn't until I spoke to the Jamaica Inn team themselves that they said that the poster that's actually in the museum is of John Broad, and he was one of two. He was one of I think it was James. James was his brother, but I think John was the one who had somebody hung at the inn. And I got all this information from the Ouija board because I didn't have a clue. We went there completely blind.
But did it? I felt that all the way along with the hanging there again, which was, I've been there. I do know a little bit about the place, but I just knew that presence was going to come out and about for you. You know what I mean? But I was more drawn to the courtyard. But that relates to the story of the information that you got. I just feel that male presence was in the front of the building, and I feel he would have been waiting there for you prior to you getting there.
Okay.
Wow.
It's a fascinating place, though.
Some of the stuff I wrote down was...
Yeah. Some of it I couldn't explain.
Right, okay. Right. Anything else you need to cover, Rach? What have you got up and coming, darling?
Carl, when I watch Ghost Adventures, they all have the top gadgets, but sometimes never work. And would you all like to work with Zach from Ghost Adventures for one night? Well, he does have quite tasty arms. So I'm a bit of an Aaron fan. I'd go ghost hunting with Aaron, not Zach.
You'd go to squeeze his arms.
We would go with
just
Nick.
His arms.
I know Nick's not in it anymore, but Nick Roth was the best one for me.
But also as well, do you think I should put Zach in a trance one night and bring something through him?
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Bring the spirit through him to work with and see who's really in and around. But again, it's you never stop learning. So right time, right place. They do keep themselves to themselves. What I would always safely say is, if you ever went to the museum, the overlapping energies when you walk into somewhere like that that's got object after object after object. Sometimes you can be bombarded. So, you know, you've got to be careful what you're going around. Even a normal run-of-the-mill person, when you're going into these places, you know, you've got to have some type of protection going up and looking after yourself and working. If you're not spiritually, you know, it can cause a lot of problems for people.
Yeah. I mean, the last time we used our Ouija board was at another location going back a couple of years ago. And as soon as we started using it, that spirit, the same spirit we used to communicate with, was on the board straight away, communicating with us. And I thought, where have you come from? Because we left you behind years ago.
We thought. Yeah.
But also as well, let's see if these 5 or 6 are waiting for us. Where are we going on the 3rd of July?
Oh, our second home, Shepton Mallet Prison.
The night of the cells. So exciting.
Oh, yeah.
You live right on top of there. That must be amazing to live on top of such a location.
It's deep with history.
Yeah, it's obviously the most haunted prison in the UK. It is. We've experienced lots and lots there. We're going to be in for a very, very good night. So if anyone has got their tickets, now's the time to buy.
And we've got a team share as well coming up, Rach, haven't we?
I have the Corn Exchange in Leeds coming up, and that's our first event. We are heading down to Shepton next weekend, but Lost Soul Paranormal are out on the 24th of July at the Leeds Corn Exchange. It's a team share only event, and it's the first time it's ever been done before, so that's quite exciting. Only 10 minutes down the road, we go past 2 McDonald's on the way back, so it's going to be a great night. It's a 2 McDonald's town.
Big Mac milkshake.
Yeah, got to get your Mackies on the way home. When are you coming to Birmingham next?
Ooh,
anything in the pipeline for Birmingham?
Birmingham, I went to the Steel Prison. A while back. That was amazing. I've got to return there. I'm just trying to think. It seems to Guy's Cliffs in Warwick, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, you know, how far's Warwick's right on top of the Birmingham, isn't it? So I think there's a Guy's Cliff event coming up as well, isn't there?
There is. I'm not sure of the date.
28th of August.
August. Okay.
Seen that with my bionic eye. Right, folks, I think we'll leave it there, and thank you for Anna for joining in tonight, and all the lovely guests that's jumped on with the comments, and Rachel for kicking us all off the screen. And
I didn't like that. I only put my laptop in charge. I think you just wanted to closer look at my sofa. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, closer look at the sofa.
So please, if anyone in the paranormal world watches the Keep On Chatting platform, and share this. Anybody's got any issues or problems, we'd like to know, and we'd like to draw the line in the sand and get a lot of things resolved, because, you know, this is what it's all about. We're good, honest working people, and at the end of the day, you deserve what you pay for. You know, you deserve some good customer services, and that's what all the people are after there that's struggling with getting refunds on this paranormal equipment, and from certain people and certain teams. Come back, respond to us, come and help these people. You know, it must be so frustrating even spending £250 and getting nothing for your money. It's not on.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Just people saying good night. So don't forget, if you do want to come down to Shepton Mallet next weekend, so it's next Saturday, head to Keep Paranormal. There are still a few spaces available, so don't miss out. I'm going to be there, so it's going to be so funny. So we're bringing down a load from Wakefield. So Yorkshire is infiltrating the south. So tickets are available now. We're bringing the scouts with us as well.
Sounds like there's going to be a bit of a pirate fight there for you, Rach.
Pirate. My surname means pirate, so bring it on.
Happy days. Thank you so much for your time tonight, folks, and I will catch up with you all soon. I think Monday night I'll have to check my diary, see where we're up to, see what's going on and around and about. Lovely for tuning in, folks. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much for having us, and lovely to chat to you both.
Nice to finally chat to Rachel.
That's the loony one.
Yeah, I've got to admit, out of the four of us, I'm slightly the more deranged. So I will look. Thanks everybody for watching, and I look forward to meeting lots of you at the weekend. Tickets still available, so go and buy them now while you can. Good night.
A week Saturday.
Week Saturday, yeah, it's gonna be fab.
Take it easy. Thanks a lot. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.